Hi, this is Carolee Hawkins coming to you live from Grand Junction at the Alpine Bank building. We have our chip card experts here with us tonight, John Zeller and Cami Bush, and we've had some customers already submit questions to us, so we'll get started with those. But if you have questions, please comment in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. So, first question, what are chip cards?
Well, a chip card is basically a credit card or a debit card that has a chip embedded in it. That chip transmits data more securely than the magstripe does. It's also known as a smart card or EMV technology. EMV stands for Europay, MasterCard, and Visa.
And why has Alpine Bank decided to adopt this technology, John?
You know, the reason we did is the old technology has been around quite a while, the mag stripe on the back of the card. And so the networks, Visa and MasterCard, they're really forcing a liability shift. And to do that, it's really to help with prevent card-present fraud. So if our merchants have a terminal that cannot process a chip card, but someone comes with a card that's a chip, and there's a fraudulent transaction, the merchant could be liable for that transaction. Likewise, if they do have a terminal that can process a chip card, and someone comes with a card that's not a chip card, then the merchant would not be liable for that transaction, and the card issuer would be liable.
Okay, great. So, big question here. Why does the process of using my chip card take so much longer than my old swipe card?
Well, the delay is actually due to the added security features, which is the whole reason we adopted chip technology to begin with. So every time the chip transmits data, it creates a unique one-time code, and that code's encrypted. That whole process does take more time. Also, I think that we're just used to the process of swiping the card, putting it back in our wallet, and then going on with getting our groceries or whatever. We now have to get used to the process of dipping the card, waiting for the transaction to process, and then removing the card. So I think as we get more used to that process, it won't seem like it takes as long. Also, as time goes on, things will become more efficient. Technology gets better and better all the time. So I think eventually that time will shorten.
Great. Okay, next question that we got from a customer. I used my card at a grocery store, and they required that I use my PIN number. Why can't I select credit and just sign like I used to?
Well, Alpine Bank is actually what's called chip and signature. What that means is that we allow our customers the option to choose to sign or to use their PIN. We don't limit it in any way. However, a merchant does have the ability to limit it or steer it in a certain direction. So if you go in and dip your card and it automatically asks for a PIN, that's them steering you in the direction of using a PIN or a debit transaction. You should be able to go ahead and hit the credit button and then process it as credit if you would like. However, some merchants do put that limitation on there where you have to use the PIN. If you ever run into that, you can go ahead and give us a call. We do have a feature called PIN Reset. So we can go ahead, clear your PIN right then and there, and you can enter a new PIN and complete your transaction.
Okay, great. And for those of you that are just joining us, don't forget, if you have questions, we'd love to hear from you, so add those to the comments and we'll get those answered as quickly as possible. Next question. Can someone scan my purse and steal the personal information that's stored on my chip card?
No, that can't happen. And
Okay.
we've had some people who thought that was the case and maybe damaged their chip on purpose or punched a hole in it. You know, those type of cards work with near field communication NFC cards, where an antenna is actually built into those cards, and it does communicate with terminals through a broadcast signal. That's not really the case for chip cards. That's a totally different type of technology. When it comes to chip cards, it has to communicate with the terminal by being inserted in and communicating that way.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. I'm planning a trip abroad and was told I need a chip card. Can I get one in the lobby at Alpine Bank, or do I need to order one and have it mailed to me?
There are a lot of European countries which do require chip technology. So if you are going on a trip, you can come into 37 of our locations and we can go ahead and print a chip debit card for you immediately. If you're not able to come into one of our locations, we can certainly send you one in the mail as well. Or if you prefer credit card, we can send you a chip credit card in the mail too.
Okay, great. And so tell me a little bit, how long does that process take if I'm out of town?
So standard mail domestically is 7 to 10 days before you receive your card. But if you need it earlier, we can do expedited shipping and have it to you in just a few days.
Okay, great, perfect. Okay, next question. Why is the process of using my chip card so different at different merchants?
That's a great question, and there's a lot of different card processors out there, and some of them use the same hardware, some of them use different hardware. If someone uses different hardware, they're definitely going to be using different software. So you could take, for example, an Ingenico terminal that a lot of processors support, but they may not have the software applications to be able to process that chip card, where some people are going to have that software configured. And the software has configurable options that say, hey, prompt for a PIN or prompt for a signature. So those software will communicate a little bit differently with how a chip card transaction is handled.
Okay, sounds good. So tell me, John, how many U.S. businesses are able to accept chip cards at this point in time?
That's a great question. We just got some survey results from a national survey today, and it looked like it was about 44% of U.S. businesses have hardware that can be capable to process a chip card. However, only 29% of merchants are processing chip cards right now.
So why the discrepancy, the 44 to the 29%? Why that difference?
And that goes with what I said a little bit ago, where the Ingenico terminals, there are hardware terminals out there that are EMV capable terminals. However, if the processor hasn't built the software and the engine to run those chip cards and has gone through all the certification processes necessary to do that with Visa and MasterCard, they won't be able to process that chip card on the terminal.
Okay, and so does Alpine Bank offer chip card terminals for their customers?
Absolutely. With the liability shift, we're really proud to say that when that happened last October, we did meet that deadline and we were able to protect all of our merchants. So we were one of the first on the scene, and still it's been a while for people to catch up. But you can come to Alpine Bank if you're a merchant and not processing chip cards. We have solutions that can help you with that.
Great,
Yeah.
great. So don't forget, if you're just joining us, please comment. We'd love to hear feedback. We'd love to hear your questions, so make sure you're doing that. Next question. I thought the reason for the switch to chip cards was because of security, but I had fraud on my new chip card and had to get a new one. Can you explain the way the new chip cards are more secure than the previous cards?
Well, unfortunately, the chip can't offer protection on non-chip transactions. So if someone's still using their cards, striping them, running the MagStrip, that MagStrip technology is replicable. So the chip technology itself is not.
Okay, we're coming back. Sorry, we had a little break in there in our Wi-Fi there.
The chip technology itself is not easily duplicated. However, MagStrip can be, and it has been for years. So fraudsters can copy that information and then use your card. Also, online transactions and over-the-phone transactions, the chip plays no role in that. So that information can still be used.
Okay, so, as a customer, a consumer, what can I do to really protect myself from those things happening?
One of the best things you can do as a customer is to just watch your transactions. Keep an eye on them. If you ever see fraudulent activity, give us a call or go onto your mobile app or online banking, and you can warm card or hot card your card there.
Okay, so what is warm card and hot card? Can you explain that for our viewers?
Sure. So a warm card is what you might want to use. Say you lose your card temporarily. It might just be around your house, maybe in your car. You want to look for it before you just go ahead and hot card that card. So you can go ahead and put it in a warm card status. Transactions cannot come through on the card at that time. So it's essentially safe, and then if you find it, you can go ahead and reactivate the card and continue using it. You can also use that feature if you know where your card's at, but you just want to kind of have that extra protection. You can keep it in a warm card status. However, you just need to remember that reoccurring transactions will be blocked while it's in a warm card status.
Okay.
Now, for hot cards, that happens if you know there's fraudulent activity on your card, or you know someone has stolen your card. You can go out there, get it hot carded, and then give us a call and we'll get you a new card ordered.
Okay, great. So let's say I do have some suspicious activity. What do my next steps need to be?
Well, you need to give us a call or come into a location. If you let us know in a timely manner, we can get those transactions disputed for you and get your money back.
Okay, great. So don't forget, if you are just joining us, please comment, give us some more questions. We'd love to get those answered for you tonight. Next question. So why do some merchants not require a signature or a pen?
That's a great question. And so there are different merchant companies out there that, depending on how they process, they don't require a signature or a PIN. And it's typically businesses like that do a lot of transactions, high volume,
Okay.
low risk, maybe your grocery stores, your convenience stores. It's really to speed up the transaction because one of the complaints with chip card transactions is how long it takes. And so merchants who do a high volume worth of business where they have long lines, it's just a really good way to expedite the traffic in those lines. So it's usually about $50 or less. They can process the transaction, they won't require a PIN or signature, and it doesn't change the security or anything on the transaction.
Good, great to know. Okay, so before we wrap up, please, give us your feedback, your questions. We'd love to, again, get those answered for you. But one last question for both of you. Is there anything else you'd love to tell our customers out there?
One thing I just definitely want to touch on is with the chip cards, it's really impacting card present fraud. So it's definitely a safe transaction where Cami talked about the old technology, the magstripe. Those cards are easily duplicated, and we've seen fraudsters do that for years. The chip card is a great way to help protect the transaction, have a safer transaction, and it's really not a requirement. As a bank, we don't have to. It's more of we want to do that to add that extra layer. So I would just say you're still subject to someone stealing your card. It's important to kind of keep an eye on your activity, your accounts, and if you do have fraud in your account, always report it back to us. Someone can still steal your card, do online fraud. This is really a protection for card present type transactions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I would want to say is don't fear the chip. There's no personal information stored on the chip. There's no tracking devices in the chip. No one's tracking what you're doing or your purchases. It's truly just there to keep you more secure and keep fraud at bay.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you have more questions, definitely visit our website. We do have a frequently asked questions sections just for the chip card. You can visit one of our 38 locations, ask them questions. You can also give us a call at 888-4-ALPINE.